Yo, what up, guys? It's Caleb here with the Card Brothers, and today I'm here with Colin, who's actually been featured on my channel a couple times. So shout out to him. Go ahead and plug your stuff
Yo,
real
what's
quick.
going on, guys? My name is Colin. As Caleb just said, I'm been on Card Brothers a couple times. I also have my own YouTube called Slept on Heroes. So if you guys want to check that out for a little bit more gameplay focused content, kind of slash roasting myself for 15 minutes at a time, you can go ahead and check that out. But today we are going to be talking about tier limits. As I'm sure Caleb has mentioned, I mean he is known as the tier god. From the Nats vlog, he's the only one of us that made it to day two with a branded tier variant. And so with Agov coming up and there's so many different decks that are coming into play, we kind of wanted to focus on tier today and kind of really see how it's going to mesh into the meta game. So yeah, we're gonna go over a bunch of different deck lists for you guys, kind of show you some different options that people playing around with, maybe like Caleb's preference. My preference, I might honestly hop on the bandwagon. For those of you who don't know, I mainly play like Pearly and Sprite, but I might have to hop on the dark side here because Tikaboo's a hell of a card. So
It's
without further
broken,
ado,
dude.
yeah, Tikaboo's hands down gonna be the best for like gate next format. And it's no question. It's only reason Vanquish's good. I said what I said. I think if Vanquish's doesn't have Tikaboo, the deck is like mid as shit.
Yeah,
But
speaking of Nats, the reason I missed day two is because me and this man got so drunk the night before we couldn't make it.
oh,
So
it was awful.
it was amazing. So if you haven't seen that
Yep.
vlog, make sure you check it out because it's actually
Oh
hilarious.
yes. Oh no, there's some good quality content in there. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop into these deck lists. So we'll have Caleb start us off with this tier deck list by Gabriel Nets.
Yeah, so this list is kind of crazy. Like I was saying to Colin before, it kind of hurts my heart to see people cutting King of the Swamp. It does make sense to me to cut it because you want all this extra room in the extra deck, and you play a lot of like more control version when you're playing something like this. This one is specifically like a danger deck list, so it is a little more luck based. I mean, tier's always luck based. But the one thing that
Especially with
I,
all the names go on.
yeah, the one thing that really stood out to me about this list is that this one is playing talent in the main. They aren't playing thrust in the main, which I think is kind of interesting. I think that card's like the best card in the game at the moment. I don't think many of these lists are playing thrust in the main, and I also
No,
don't
they really aren't.
and all of these lists have something in common, which is three Rhino, and I personally really do not like that. Three Rhino is a little bricky to me, but that's these people are doing better than I am, so I would say if you want to win, maybe copy one of these lists. But I do not like three Rhino. What do you have to say?
So yeah, this list, the thing I've noticed a lot of people are starting to up the danger count with Nessie and Mothman. I actually saw one list playing Goki Pole to search Mothman, and I thought that was
That's
insane.
hilarious, bro.
Because Goki Pole is a I'm pretty sure it's a level 4. Let me double check real quick. But I'm pretty sure Goki Pole is level 4, so you can kind of get some. Oh no, it's level 3. Never mind. Oh my God, imagine if Goki Pole is level 4.
Oh my god,
Just
dude.
start making a Bahamut Shark with this card. That'd be
Bro, I'm
insane.
gonna start cooking because now I'm thinking like
Oh God,
Cherubini
yes.
Sengoki pole after making
Yeah.
Draco Sack.
Oh no, bro. Get Nick in here,
I'm
bro.
starting to
Hey,
cook,
listen.
bro.
If it's a level 3, Nick is there.
It's
But
fine, bro.
the one diviner, like I said, I'm kind of new to the tier limit scene. So I'm just like
Yeah,
I'm trying to understand the deck better for next format because it's something like if I don't end up picking up tier and playing it, it's something I want to like know how to play against. But
yeah,
other than that, I mean, it looks fairly standard. Like the extra deck, I think Sprint is broken in this deck. Not only being able to send Murley, but also if you like side scattershot for time. Actually, one of my friends in a regional did that to me round two. He scattershotted me in time to take the set against me, and we had a good laugh about that one.
yeah. I like the
Um,
goddess in the extra deck too because of the pearly. Um,
hmm
but like I was saying before, like I disagree with the three Rhino because honestly,
yeah.
like Herald is a little bit better sometimes, like if it's your normal summon. And I think having two
hmm
Herald because we're playing cross sheep in the extra deck makes way more sense because really
Yeah, I
Herald's
agree.
what you want to summon back so you can send like Kelbeck or a Guido or
Yeah, if you didn't
Mill
already mill them.
for sure, for sure.
Um, Yeah, so I mean, his list is definitely like one you could probably like if you're maybe just starting out on tier, like it's not bad. He actually does play the one thrust in the
In the
side, which
side.
is really interesting with the XYZ Encore. Yeah, I like XYZ Encore. Honestly, he probably is overhating on Pearly a little bit. Like you could probably cut like, I mean, if you're playing, I guess if he's only playing one diviner, it makes sense. But if you up the diviner count to two, maybe you could play like Baron instead of Underworld Goddess because you have the XYZ Encore for Pearly, but I guess it really depends on how much you hate that
Bro,
deck. I know a lot of people do, so
card destruction is
yeah.
so funny to me, dude. I love that
Oh
people are
my
playing it.
god.
I've
It's
seen some
so good.
craziness, dude. Like
It's dude, it's so good.
I've seen people like not only add a ton off of it, but I've also seen a tier player get drolled and then card
Yeah.
destruction, and then their opponent doesn't
Yeah.
have a hand. So it's like
Yep.
ridiculous.
Yeah, they just literally hand loop themselves for five. Yeah, this card's nice because it also gives you like really good information about like obviously what deck your opponent's playing, but also like kind of seeing how strong like their hand I guess was, but
It
yeah, I
also
like this card.
it unbricks people's hands. I think card destruction is probably a good one of in this deck, and I
Yeah,
really like
100%.
it with thrust, which is why I'm surprised they're only playing one
Hmm.
thrust. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, I guess we can kind of move on from this list. I feel like this one's a pretty standard list. If you're looking to play tier,
yeah.
like this is a good starter list, I think. Um, but yeah, moving on to the next one. We have one kind of for the next format. Now, Colin and I were looking at this list. It was one of the only ones we could find for Horus tier, but I think Horus tier is going to be something to watch out for next, like as soon as this new set comes out. Um,
Hmm.
I definitely disagree with like the hand traps in this list, like
Yep.
and like torrential and just a couple of the
God,
things
yeah.
they
No,
have
this
going
this
on.
this deck list is garbage. I feel like I could cook something better than this with
Yeah.
the amount of tier knowledge I have. I mean, he's only playing one tier cash. Like that card's a three of.
Oh, for sure.
Treasure
Yeah.
Tribute, bro. We're not playing fucking Labyrinth, dog. Like, come on now.
And we're playing
I
way too
think
many
the
eights.
yeah. Yeah, nah. I mean, only two Tearlament field spells too. Yeah, guys, this deck was just awful. The only actually good Tears card is the Glory, because it like basically replaces itself because you draw one and search, and then it becomes a free body. So like this one's really good, but like I've noticed like a lot of times like with like DB Grinder, he's been posting like a crap ton of tier lists, and a lot of them playing like the Horus cards, and every time like they draw one that isn't the glory, it feels so bad.
Bro,
Like
yeah.
I mean, if you discard it and then get to summon it later, if you get to sarcophagus, it's nice. But other than that, like the cards are just not
Yeah,
good.
you really only want to see glory in your hand. So I don't
Yeah,
agree with playing the three one ofs. I think
yeah, I don't
for
either.
for tier, you're gonna want to play like three glory and two happy, and that's it, in
Yeah,
my
yeah, I
opinion.
think that's good.
Um,
Yeah, and a lot of people have also been bumping the sarcophagus up to three, which I actually do kind of agree with. Just because I mean this card literally just lets you send a card from your hand to the graveyard. So this also kind of helps clunky hands, or like if you hard draw a Guido or Kelbeck, you can just send it with this, and then you get to dump a Horus, which is essentially a free body. And then this card also has a battle effect that I think a lot of people forget about. So this card, it says that at the start of the damage step, if your Horus monster battles an opponent's monster, you send the opponent's monster to the graveyard. Now that effect actually is like kind of huge, because that's on that's on your opponent's turn too. So if your opponent attacks into your Horus monster and you remember to trigger this, you just send their monster. Um, so that
yeah,
can kind of like catch people off guard. But yeah, like the one droll in this deck with the two Ash, the one Nib.
those are all
Yeah,
like
no,
going second
yeah.
cards would be way better in my opinion.
The
Like it,
one super poly, yeah, no, this deck list is just horrible. Honestly, I think the most meme part about this deck is the extra deck.
yeah,
They're trying so hard with this rank 8 package with like Dragooblion. The zombie vampire I agree with. I think this card's insane with the horse cards. Like this card is so nice. Because you one get deck information, two you could summon one of their monsters. Like I saw someone summon a heavy burger and then started drawing with it
that's
off of the zombie
ridiculous, dude.
vampire. It's so
I saw
good.
somebody steal a Fenrir, which was wild, and then just
Yeah,
add
yep,
like
yep,
a tier
yep,
cache, which is nuts.
yep.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, no.
I think we should be playing like talents or thrust in place of the hand traps.
I
definitely cut
agree.
the list down to like 40 cards.
Yep.
Remove the extra horse cards, get rid of the
That,
Lancia,
yeah.
put diviners in. If you're playing this
Yep.
list, like you arguably can cut King of the Swamp. You don't need that many
Yeah.
eights, but just
Yeah,
as we couldn't find as many lists because the deck isn't actually out yet, but this is going to be
yeah.
something to look out for, just the horse cards mixed with tier, because zombie vampire
Hmm.
in this deck is wild. So
It is
um
really good, yeah.
for
Because it
sure.
also triggers your tier names. So be on the lookout for that. Maybe Caleb and I can cook something up for you guys. We can get some horse tier.
For sure, for sure. All right, moving on to
Um
list 3. We have this which one is this? This is
the
the
Herman Hansen deck list, I believe.
so Herman Hansen's up next. We actually have the Shadal list.
Ah,
Um
yes.
and so we found one that like was just really bad and old and outdated, but this one's
Oh
much
god, the first
better.
one was awful, yeah.
Yeah. I like this one a little bit more. And I like the Shadal package in here, and I don't think they're
Hmm.
doing it, but if you side Shadal Fusion, you get some really crazy plays because it's just like a one
Yeah.
card like instant combo, because you can go like
Hmm.
Shadal Fusion, send any Shadal and a Guido or a Kelbeck, and then summon Shekanaga. They aren't even playing Shek, but because they're not playing
Yeah,
Shadal
they're
Fusion.
not.
But
I have
that's
heard about that
crazy.
though.
It is
Yeah,
crazy.
that
Um,
stuff is nice. The thing I want to point out in this list is they're actually siding in the Necroworld Banshee and Zombie World. Now that is definitely not something we've been seeing in a lot of tier lists, and I think this honestly is for Flunder. I think this guy like gets shifted every game against him, and then normal summon Rabina. So I feel like whoever made this list just like really has it out for Flu, which is totally respectable. I mean, I used to play that deck, and I get it. I totally get it. I mean, obviously Shifter's still probably gonna be like the biggest problem for this deck moving into the next format. Because like Vanquish Soul is starting to play Shifter a lot because they can kind of play around Shifter or like play through it. I've even been seeing Pearly start siding in shift or like maining Shifter. Obviously Flu is still playing Shifter. So I think that's gonna be like the card. I mean, that's gonna be the card to look out for like the counters for tier because a lot of people have their eyes on tier right now as like being the deck to beat. Because it has a pretty good Unchained matchup, which I think is really like kind of giving it that extra oomph because like Unchained was like that surprise like really good deck, and like now people are kind of like realizing that tier is really good into it. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
I
no,
I like this list. And to go back on what I said about the 3 Rhino, I think people are playing the 3 Rhino if they aren't playing King of the Swamp, because that gets you into the
yeah,
Kaleido, um,
yep,
which I think is right if you're playing a list like this. And
yes,
something I do like about this list is that it's playing Heartbeat. I think Heartbeat's really slept on. It's one of the craziest cards in the deck, especially if you're
hmm,
playing Meta Noise. And Meta Noise is
yeah,
absolutely wild. Like that card's
and they are indeed playing Meta Noise.
one card combo. This like if they set
Yep,
Meta Noise, they can make window on their opponent's turn and book a monster. It's like nuts,
yep,
you know. Um,
yeah,
so if you're gonna play shit all tier, I like this list a lot. Maybe
yeah, I
you,
agree.
like change out a Shekanaga for like
Hmm.
if you aren't worried too much about flu. I don't know about this Gravekeeper's inscription. Maybe their side
So
deck
the
could
I
use a little work in my opinion, but
Yeah, so actually, I think that Gravekeeper's inscription is really more for the Unchained matchup because that
okay,
card is actually as it really is strong against Unchained 'cause it's kind of like a mini dweller. Um,
that's hilarious. I
yeah,
didn't even realize that.
yep. So at the start of the main phase, it says neither player can activate cards in the graveyard, banish cards, or special summon monsters from the graveyard. So yeah, it's definitely. I mean, actually, it's kind of tier hate too.
Bro, what the
Um,
heck?
yeah, it actually
How do
is
you
kind of
play the
tier.
game like if you're doing this?
Well, I mean. Yeah, it depends on what effect they apply. Now, the thing you have,
Oh, I
yeah,
see.
so you choose one, but the thing with Graveskeeper's Inscription is it has to be. I actually this is good to know. If you guys are playing this card, it has to be your first action because it says at the start of your main phase one. So if you play any other card, this card's dead.
So it's just
So
like
like
extra.
it pretty much is like Estravier. Like it says at the start of your main phase, you draw two.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
so that's the thing to know with Gravekeeper's Inscription. So it's really strong, but also like you have to watch out for that because you definitely could get caught lacking on that. And then you're just kind of looking dumb. because then you go try to activate it and your opponent goes, oh no, you can't start your main phase, and then you get into a 30-minute judge call on why you're bad at the game. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
exactly. Yeah.
um,
Again
but
with
yeah, no,
the
I like
dangers
this
in here
list.
too. Yeah, I kind of like
Hmm.
the Jackalope, so I'm surprised they aren't playing Jackalope with this many dangers. Because if you hit Nessie, like adding Mothman's good, but I think Jackalope's also good if you're trying to get a body on board and you have
Yeah,
Nessie and
I
Grave.
th-
So
I think the reason for Mothman, honestly, I think over Jackalope is just because Mothman's a level 4.
yeah,
And I think that opens up your XYZ lines a little bit more, like for Redoer, Dweller, even Bahamut Shark.
yep,
Oh,
for
well,
sure.
actually, no, not Bahamut Shark, 'cause that's water. But yeah, so definitely for like Redoer, Dweller, stuff like
Yeah,
that. I
Dweller
definitely
is a
think it like kind
must
of
in
helps.
this format, I
Oh,
think.
Dweller's mandatory because
Yeah,
I think there's gonna be a lot of the mirrors, and we're kind of gonna revert back to like 2020 format, or like when or 2021 format when a Shizu tier was like it was just every single game was just a Shizu tier mirrors,
yep,
or or tier versus flu. So I think this card's gonna be mandatory. It's also actually like pretty good against Unchained too. Because they like Chayama, that's like their one of that they have to get in rotation because that card is just insane for them. So I think a Dweller is gonna be really
for
good. But
sure, for sure, for sure. Uh,
yeah, no, this is a good list.
Moving on to the next list. This is probably the best list we have, um,
Hmm.
and I think this list will kind of speak for itself. This is like the tier control deck. Um,
Yeah,
Although the one thing I noticed this list isn't playing. This is Herman Hansen's list. Is
yeah.
the blue dog, which I think is really neat in the tier list.
Ooh, Shayama,
For
yes, I
yeah,
agree.
he's broken because you can set any tier card and then send it for
Hmm.
Shyama to summon himself. He's a level 6, so if you make like Garura, you can make a Beatrice,
Yeah,
which is really neat. But
Shayama is nice.
and it also triggers the tier card because it sends for effect, or destroys
Hmm.
it. So you're gonna get to be like
Yeah,
if you
it's
set a
getting sent by
Slurk,
card effect.
yeah, you're gonna be able to
Yeah,
hit
I
him.
agree. I've been seeing a lot of tier players trying the Shayama, like the one of Shayama. I've also seen some tier players playing the Fiendish Rhino Warrior to dump it. So like kind of just like extra mill, cause like, I mean, I guess Fiendish Rhino Warrior is like the second copy of Shayama, but like they've been playing that as well. Just cause it gets that extra mill, kind of thins your deck a little bit more. So I think that's like cute. I don't think I don't you could probably get away with just playing the Shyam. I don't think you need the Rhino Warrior. I think it's just like kind of a cool, one extra card you can play. But no, I definitely think Shyam is really cool because it also can be like helpful for pesky kind of floodgates. Like God, what's a good one? I mean, it could be really good against the mirror Tikaboo. Like
Mm-hmm.
if they go first instead of Tikaboo, Shyama can out that. Because it's a fiend, and most of your deck is like either
Aqua,
Aqua
yeah.
or Psychic, and the Warrior. So I mean, and that's like honestly, I think one of the best reasons for playing tiers because you don't have to worry about getting TKB'd as much.
It's so nice,
But
dude. Yeah.
it can become a problem.
Which
But yeah, I think that card's super cool.
Speaking of this list kind of is like my personal favorite because it is still playing the King of the Swamp. A lot of lists are cutting this, but I really think Chimera is just like a crazy going second, like
Chimera is
unbreaking your
insane.
hand type card. Like you get to
Hmm.
send like if you open Kelbeck Agido and then King of the Swamp and any stupid card that doesn't do anything, like any monster that
Yeah,
doesn't do anything,
yeah,
you're screwed. So but you get to make Chimera in this and then mill 10 and draw like two and pop a card. So it's
yeah.
really good.
I
I
agree.
really like it, and I like the kaiju in the main.
Yeah, I do too. I think having like that just that one that right amount of Pearly hate is like necessary because like if you catch like if Pearly catches you with your pants down like you're getting like you're getting butt fucked. I mean that's just the simplest way to put it. Like if your deck does not have it out to Noir, like you're losing. I promise you.
Yep.
Like if they get to turn one Noir and then you're just sitting there and you're like,
How do I out
what
this?
do I
Yeah.
do? Yeah, no, you might as well just pick up your cards, go to game two.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna start attaching your whole field. I also like Fenrir in this deck because Fenrir searching tier cache is really clean,
Hmm.
and Fenrir is just an insane card. Like this card is so good.
I
Um,
I like the toad and the Bahamut shark. The only thing
Yeah.
I kind of disagree with is the Radiant. Like if I was gonna play a kaiju, it'd be Gamma Seal. I guess it makes sense
Yeah.
because they are playing Garura, you know. But I don't
Hmm.
like the Radiant because they aren't playing Super Poly.
Yeah.
There's no Super Poly in here, so there's no reason to not play Gamma Seal because less stats and it's an Aqua. So if you mill it, you can make Kaleido. So I think that's
Hmm.
way better in my opinion. But
Yeah.
they're plus three
No,
extra
I
on the
like
side is
that
kind of weird. So
because I don't think. Oh, they're also on the three Rhino as well, which
yes.
is I guess kind of like you're going back to your argument about not playing the Garua or give the Game of Seal because they're playing the three Rhino. But his list is he is actually also not playing the Dangers.
And he's not playing Diviner. And the
Yeah,
and the reason
yeah,
he's
he's
not
stripping it down.
he's not playing Diviner because he's not playing Cross Sheep as well. So
Hmm.
it's a really interesting
That
list.
makes sense.
I love that this deck has so many layers to it and has so many different
Yeah,
types of builds.
that it
Because you
does.
you aren't playing cards because you are playing certain types of cards. Like
Hmm.
Diviner getting impermed gets us into Sprint, which is crazy. But
Yeah,
we're not playing Cross Sheep or Diviner because we're not playing. We
right.
aren't playing Diviner. So
Yeah,
um, I don't have much else to say. I think this deck is kind of crazy. Now
yeah.
Colin did build his own list, and I really want to take a look at that because I
Oh
haven't
boy,
I
yeah.
haven't
This is
really
my
looked at
first
it.
go at it.
So I'm gonna see
Uh,
what he put in, and I'm gonna tell you guys what I
yeah.
think
I can also go into kind of my own thoughts.
for sure.
So I did net deck like the skeleton of it. But I kind of tweaked like I think the hardest part about tier is honestly building a side deck for it. Like I think the main deck like you can definitely make it like you can like get to that 40 card just super clean main deck, but the side deck honestly like me looking into it at my first go was like just so difficult because there's so many good cards you can play and there's so many like especially going into these formats where you don't like have like an undisputed best deck and there's like 15 decks that all can play like into the format. Well, it makes it really hard side decking and I know and we could also if you guys want we could talk about that in a future video, but that is like something that like the very highly competitive players like honestly don't even enjoy because you enter a tournament, you're playing 12 rounds in a YCS or Nats, and like you get sacked by some random ass rogue deck that someone just happened to build for anti meta, and that can be very frustrating. Um, so yeah, no, but let's take a look at my list. Let's see what Caleb thinks.
So I really like your list. I have a couple recommendations, but overall, I think this is one of the better control lists we've looked at.
Mm,
And the reason I say it's the control is because we aren't playing King of the Swamp, so we're not going like stupid
yeah,
combo type list.
that's true.
So I really like your ratios, and I like your side deck. I think the Cowboy is really
Hmm.
funny. Um,
Yeah,
the Cowboy could arguably be because you aren't playing Sprint, so just kidding.
yes,
Um, I like the Cowboy in the side then. The only
yeah. I
thing
think. Oh, go ahead.
the only thing I would change is probably the three Rhino,
Hmm.
because I
Probably down to
think
two.
I think if you're playing the malicious, I would change the Rhino from three and then put in the denier because if you
Yeah.
hit both malicious, you're kind of boned. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Denier's all bro. Denier's so crazy too.
Especially since
That
you're
card is
playing
so
cross
good.
sheep, you get
Yeah.
you get two extra bodies for nothing.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think like the Zeus could arguably be a sprint too, and maybe that's something I would put in like post to Gov. Because like realistically, the only XYZ that like I feel you're really gonna be like able to make Zeus with anyway is Redoer. Because this is all. I mean, obviously we would love for Beatrice to stick around, but most people like kind of hate on this card
and we're
because
probably
it's so
detaching
good.
too with Beatrice.
Exactly. So like this Zeus is gonna be one match. So honestly, I would probably like cut the Zeus for Sprint because
Mhm.
Sprint is crazy. Especially with like the scatter shot, which is honestly probably the time card I would prefer to play. Just because it's like super consistent. And honestly, I think it's more sacky, so like you're
It's
really just
so
pissing
funny,
your
dude.
opponent off.
I
Yeah,
actually
it's
I
it's so
lost
bad.
a sprite or not a sprite a tier mirror match because my
Yep.
opponent went Havness effect and then milled a scatter
Yeah.
shop off the top. So
Yep. 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 Yeah, I've
overall, I
gotten
think
the
this list is insane, dude.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. Like I said, this is my first go at it. I'm gonna be definitely testing this deck a lot going forward. And yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna be it for the video, guys. Thank you, Caleb, for having me on the channel again. I'll hopefully get to come around a little bit more, but
I would love that.
yeah,
Shout out to you guys. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end. And make sure if you're here, check out Colin's channel and also hit
yep,
that subscribe button down below. It really means a lot to me and it helps me continue making these videos for you guys. So with that being said,
yeah.
thanks so much for watching. I'll see y'all on the next one.
Peace, guys.
Peace.